All right, folks, the rolling chassis for the 60, the rematch 60 is completely assembled with the wheels. Watch the video to see the process. All right, today's Friday, June 24, 2022. Big day today. It's about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I have a mobile sandblaster coming out here. He's on the way here. Got to sandblast his frame. It's good and windy, which is great. It'll blow all the dust away from my house. So yeah, I've used this guy a few times for some floor pans, miscellaneous stuff. Mobile, comes out to the house. Can't really do it in a residential area. But yeah, I'm going to have him sandblast this top and bottom. And then I'm going to get it on my lift, and I'm going to get it in epoxy before the end of the weekend. I got some black epoxy. Got to figure out a way to suspend it in the air, but that's the plan. So, bring you guys back once he gets here.
Epoxy is bad boy.
Yep, we're going to spray this epoxy. It's been sitting for about 30 minutes. I got it suspended from the lift with some chains. I like that idea. Proud of that. So yeah, all we're going to do is get this thing coated. Mixed up a quart. We're going to spray it till we ain't got no more. It's already starting to flash overnight. It's amazing. We're going to do it out here in the big shop. Oh. Yep. What's the score? I like, yeah, that big swing and miss from Stanton and Judge, huh?
He said, I was looking at the stats. Javier's got 10 strikeouts.
For Javier?
No hits.
Alright, so here we are. It's Sunday. We epoxied this yesterday, sandblasted it Friday, or had it sandblasted, I should say. Overall, I mean, it's pretty good, I say it's about 80% where I want it. There's just some areas that my amateur welding showed its face, like here's for one, which of course is the top of the frame. You're never going to see it, but I got some time to kill. So I'm going to do a little body work on this frame. I know there's a lot of guys out there that could probably wrap a frame without having to do body work, but I can't. So that's why I'm going to do body work. Overall, it's not that bad though. This epoxy is bulletproof. It's dried. I mean, it dried in like an hour yesterday. So it's still within the recoat window. You can apply filler to it without having to scuff it. So I would like to apply a bunch of filler where it needs, and then you know, sand it down. But overall, I like the sheen, the semi-gloss to it, matte, if I guess you can say. That's the look I'm going for on this frame, actually. I don't want gloss black. So I think what I'm going to do is do a little bit of filler work here and there, and then probably just recoat it in epoxy. We'll see how it plays out. But it's been sitting overnight, so it's really 100% dry. It's probably not cured, but it's definitely dried. So not bad. Also got to drill the holes for the cylinders at some point. I don't know if I showed all this on the video. I don't think I did, but got my A-arms back. I got to mold these out. They're all wrapped up 3/16. Got custom trailing arms made. They're stock length with the recessed power ball. 2x3s is what they're known as. Got some reverse cups, some shallow cups for the front, 1 ton for the back, 2 ton pre-cut for the front, 8s and 12s. So we're going to be grinding this down over the next couple weeks, make them look pretty. Of course, new bushings and all that. But yeah, plenty of work ahead. So let me get started and I'll bring you guys back. All right, today's Sunday, July 3rd, 2022. It's 4th of July weekend. Put a couple hours in here, out here today. So these are the control arms and rear trailing arms for the 60. I kind of farmed it out to my buddy at Fine Line Hydraulics. He did the reinforcements. Looks like three-sided. These are custom made. Wind's blowing out here now. These are custom made trailing arms with the recessed power ball. They're stock length. As you can see, I got an old rusted one behind it. Uses stock bushings. Lowers, plated three-side. Cross arm shafts. And of course the other trailing arm. So he did these for me a couple weeks ago. And then he didn't mold them, but he reinforced them. So between me and Bobby G, we molded these things out over the past couple days. So recessed these, molded them in, lowers. So it's a big step for the car. Still working on the frame, doing a little body work on that, cleaning it up. So these are done. I got the ball joints and the bushings on order. I already got the cylinders and the coils as seen previously. So I'm almost ready to make this thing a roller. I had to drill the holes out for the ball joints. That was exciting. But outside of that, it's pretty straightforward. Didn't do anything on the top sides of these. Just molding them. So not sure if I'm going to chrome these or just paint them black. I'm really leaning towards painting them black, but I don't know. We'll see. Sometimes I get wild. But I just want to document what's going on now. Slowly plugging away, building a roller for this thing, and then I'm going to work on the drivetrain. So hope you guys enjoyed a little update here. Stay tuned for more. All right, today's Sunday, July 24th, 2022. And I'm going to put in some work here on this frame. I hadn't really done any recording of what I've been doing, but working on this thing pretty much every day after work during the week. Trying to get it molded out. I would say that from the X forward, it's about 90% done. It's a really tedious job here. Really focusing on from the body mounts forward. I really want to get that nice. Because of course that's what you see. You're never going to see any of this other stuff back here, but I do want to clean it up a little bit. So I'm using some spot putty, using some filler, using some glaze, and 2K primer. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to, still undecided on black or green. I really don't know. I don't know. Probably black. But I molded in the motor mounts. Molded all the towers. Frame horns, spring pocket, body mount. Most of the body mounts are done. Like I say, I've been focusing on the X forward, so I haven't even done anything in the back really, but that's the gist of it. So I'm putting in about 5 hours today, see what happens. I think the front cross member is about done. Like I say, just some really small areas. For example, this, I can use some spot putty. Overall, it's looking pretty good for now. So I'll bring you guys back once I put some more work in. All right, today's Sunday, September 11th, 2022. It's a pretty big day in United States history, as many of y'all know. We're out here getting some work in, or I'm getting some work in. I think I'm about to finish up the last of the bottom of the framework. I've already got the whole thing molded out. It just needs a final sanding. What we did here, what Bobby did for me yesterday, was he deleted the frame horn circles that basically are used to access the sway bar. I don't plan on running a sway bar on this car. I plan on running accumulators all the way around, or at least in the back, but possibly all the way around. So that's one of the reasons why I went with the 1/8" frame wrap, mainly for looks. So what he did was he deleted all the frame horn holes, cut them out, made them rectangle, and then welded plates in. So with that being deleted, there's really nowhere to strap the car down on a trailer other than looping it through the lower control arms, which I don't like doing because it'll wear a hole, it'll wear your strap in two from the constant rubbing. So what I had them do was weld in some 3/4 inch bolts, and I'm going to be running we can either weld some sort of D-ring to those bolts itself or get a 3/4 inch eye bolts. So basically removable areas to strap the car onto the trailer on the front. The back I always strap on the axle. So just kind of thinking ahead here, kind of like the idea. What I'm going to do now is just going to mix it up, just a dab of epoxy to cover up this bare metal. SPI as usual. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it since it's a frame. I'm not even going to use a mixing cup, just kind of, ain't going to take much, maybe 2 ounces if that. So that's all that's planned for today. And then now that the 68 is off the lift, we can get this thing flipped over, finish off the top side, and we're ready to paint this bad boy within the next 2 weeks, I'd say. So let me get this stuff mixed up, bring you guys back once it's sprayed. All right, today's Thursday, September 22nd, 2022. We're getting ready to epoxy this frame. I'm done. I'm about as done molding it as I want to be. So we moved it over here, got it on the lift. We're going to hit it with just one coat of epoxy. Right now we sanded the whole thing in 320. Some DA, some by hand. We're going to spray one coat of epoxy tonight. And then I got some Eastwood ceramic stuff I'm going to spray tomorrow once the epoxy sets. So, bring y'all back here once we get this thing coated. All right, here we are the next day. It's about 8:30 in the morning, and this thing's been sitting in the epoxy overnight, so it's dried and it's still within its recoat window. So, a couple reasons I use the epoxy was for durability. This SPI epoxy is actually brake fluid resistant. So if I were to get a leak anywhere, somewhere like that, it's not gonna do any damage. Second would be touch up. It's just black, so easy to touch up, and also coverage. So I'm gonna be top coating it with this Eastwood stuff. I've never used it. Mixes 4:1, 2K ceramic chassis black. Mixes 4:1. I got 2 quarts. Should give me 2 full coats. Never used it, like I say. I did use their high temp engine stuff a few months back, and I was pretty impressed with that. So Eastwood makes pretty good stuff. There's some stuff I wouldn't use from Eastwood, but they do make good products, so I'm going to go ahead and give them a shot. Yeah, so like I say, I molded this thing out, and really I'm only really kind of concerned about the body mount forward. That's essentially the only thing you're really going to see on this thing once the body's on. Once the body's on, the whole thing is forgotten about. So, not going for a show car. I did debate on chrome and paint and all that jazz, and at the end of the day, kind of over that whole thing, looking more for durability and reliability and low maintenance. So that's why I opted for black. I got the suspension powder coated. So, and this stuff, this ceramic stuff I'm about to spray, it's gloss, but they advertise it as 89% gloss. I don't know how they came up with that number, but it's not a full gloss, and it's not quite a satin or a matte. So I'm gonna give it a shot. Like I say, I'm looking for durability and low maintenance. I don't want to be laying under the car cleaning chrome suspension. I used to do that stuff, but I'm kind of over it. So guess I get to mixing. Bring you guys back after the first coat. It's a one-man show today. All right, Eastwood. So now we're batting 0-2 because this thing says a U.S. quart. We got 16 in one and 11 in the other. It's 27. That's not 32. I really doubt there's 5 ounces left on the side of this can. So, not good. Stay tuned. All right, so here we are. 2 quarts later, or 2 28 ounce cans later, I should add. So the instructions say that you can spray this stuff with a 1.3 to 1.7. So I used my epoxy gun, which I believe is a 1.4, and it worked great for about the first 5 minutes, and then it started getting difficult to spray. I upped the PSI. I mean, the fluid was wide open. Upped the PSI to like 29, 30, and it was spraying on. I mean, I was having to go multiple passes to get any type of gloss on it. And it was taking a long time. So I didn't want to, I don't know the pot life, but it's like 95 degrees. So I didn't want to have what I have sitting on the shelf drying, and then also drying in the gun. So I dumped it out, and I used my 1.8 poly primer gun, which is an Iwata Ergunza, and night and day difference. So I was hammering the stuff on, sprayed a lot easier. So I would recommend anybody who's going to use this product use like at least a 1.8. Maybe you can use a 2.0 and dial it back. But made quite a mess in here. I wish I didn't have to spray it in this building here. I wanted to do it in my little paint room, but it would have been way too hard to get underneath and get all the areas. So I'm gonna have to clean up a mess in here. But once I got it with the 1.8, it basically started spraying like a polyester primer, going on real thick, and that's what I wanted to fill any little imperfections or, you know, whatever areas I might have missed. And it kind of gives the finish of kind of powder coat, not exactly, you know, smooth like base coat, clear coat, because I didn't want it too smooth that it outslicks the powder coated suspension. So basically the end result of this stuff is what it looks like. It looks like it's a powder coated frame, molded. But like I say, my metalworking skills aren't that great to get it to look like this without using some filler and some primer. All right. Today's Sunday, September 25th, 2022. It's about 11 o'clock in the morning. And I'm going to start assembly of this frame I got, make it into a rolling chassis. So I've been hoarding parts. I did a video previously on the rear end. It's a Ford 9-inch. It's been narrowed, inch on each side. It's got 350 gear going in. The axles are on the shelf. I got this coated in the Eastwood stuff months ago. Drum brakes, obviously. Got a Pitbull wishbone for it. Powder coated the coils, the deep cups, and the trailing arms. So I got to put the bushings and the trailing arms on that. That's pretty much going to wrap up the rear. As far as the front, I got all the A-arms powder coated black, 500 gearbox, new pitman arm. Actually, the pitman and the tie rods, I coated these in epoxy on Friday because they were raw. So 2 coats of epoxy on that. So these things should be bulletproof now. Got the billet adjustable tie rod from CPP. Stock spindles, manual steering center link, 2-ton pre-cut coils, 1 ton's in the back, shallow cups in the front. I also coated the brake calipers because they were raw, so I got those in epoxy. Disc brakes in the front, so all the brackets and stuff. I got to put the bushings in the control arm, so I'm gonna have to do a little bit of work on that. And I have the transmission mount, which is a generic eBay. So, like I say, I've been hoarding parts. Got all new ball joints. But yeah, that's the plan here for the next couple days. Like I said, I coated this thing the other day, Friday, 2 days ago. So it's been sitting. I think it's cured plenty. It's enough to put it down on jack stands. So it should go together pretty good, pretty easy. I never test fit the rear end, but really I don't see how that can change because I didn't mess with the mounts. The front should bolt right up. Tie rod should clear, so hopefully it's a good day. I don't know how far I'm going to get. Should be able to get at least the front going, so bring you guys back once I get some work in. All right, today's Monday, September 26, 2022. I finished up assembling this rolling chassis for the 60 convertible. So I just want to kind of give an overview of everything that was done. So first, this frame was wrapped. in 1/8" steel, 4-sided all the way, front to back. Then it was body worked a little bit, and then it was painted in some ceramic Eastwood black chassis paint, gloss. So it's got a front disc brake kit. Start with the wheels. The wheels are 13 by 7, 80 spoke, Series 1 Roadster. They were born as 14-inch. Roadster made 14-inch, 80 spokes. 13s were 72s. So they're 80 spoke hubs that I had sent out and made into 13 by 7 center gold, 2-prong knockoff. Series 1, they only have 5 holes. They're not universal. So pretty heavy wheels. Like I say, disc brake kit, 13's clear, no problem. The control arms were molded, reinforced and molded and powder coated. All the suspension, the steering knuckle, spindle was powder coated. It's got the CPP billet tie rod adjusters, black. It's got a idler arm conversion bracket, so you can run a 61 through 64 idler arm. We molded that in as well. Those are sold on CPP website and Speedway and a couple others. Left myself a note to tighten up all the linkage. It's got a CPP 500 gearbox. The motor mounts are small block motor mounts. They're also molded in to accept Dirty Dingo sliders. This thing's going to be getting a LT1 Gen 5. 2-ton pre-cut springs in the front, shallow cups, powder coated as well. 8-inch cylinders. Same on this side. All the convertible body mounts were molded in. The whole frame was molded. It's got a custom transmission mount that's in the same location as the stock. We kind of built it comparing one side to the other. This was a 59 4-door frame originally, but it also has the convertible body mounts for a 5960. So on the rear end, custom trailing arms. They're stock length though, made out of 2x3 steel. Power balls, 1-ton pre-cut, 12-inch cylinders in the back. The spring perch was all molded out. The rear end is a quick performance Ford 9-inch, narrowed to 58 inches, as you can tell. Close quarters right there between the shock or the trailing arm mount and the rear drum. Went with drum brakes. It's got a brand new 350 gear. It's got a Pitbull wishbone, Pitbull hydraulics, and we made the brackets on the frame here at the shop. So Brent over at Pitbull, he did the conversion on the brackets to make this fall in place on an Impala. So it did fit pretty good. I mean, no complaints. Got the uprights for the hydraulics, 1 day. The rear bumper brackets are molded in, and it's all capped off, 4-sided. Also in the front, I forgot to mention, went ahead and recessed the radiator support with a cage nut, both sides. And all that's left is the holes for the bumper bracket. Everything else was shaved and molded out. So lost track on the time, but I would say I probably spent about 100 hours molding this out and painting it. That was after it was 4-sided reinforced, so I don't even want to add up that time, but a lot of work in this. Like I said, it's getting a LT1 Gen 5 5.3 with a 4L80. So that's going to be next up. Going to be painting that to color match the car. It's going to be Cascade green with a pulley kit on the front and all the pretty stuff. So that's next on the project. We already test fitted it, and we put the motor mounts where they needed to be when it was in the rough in stage. The A-arm's got a 1-inch extension. So that's going to conclude this roller. I think next clip I'm going to do is when I start prepping the motor for paint. Like I said, it's going to be color matched. So opted with black, no chrome, but I like it nice and clean. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Stay tuned for more work.